Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Create With Us podcast, where we take you behind the screens. My name is Brett Barley. I'm joined today, as always, by my man, Jeff Vin. Jeff, what's going on, dude?
Woohoo! Happy Friday to everybody listening.
That's right. Happy Friday. Hope everyone is ready for the Valentine's weekend, a long weekend for some people with the holiday on Monday. So we're excited to get into that. But first, we have a very cool guest today. This is only our second guest we've ever had on the show, so we're pumped. It's Kristin Jekielek from Value Video Marketing. We're so excited to bring her in. Jeff, you actually met Kristen previously. You want to tell us about how you guys kind of got in touch?
For sure. There's this awesome conference and group called podmax.co if you want to learn about them. So yeah, it's a community, a lot of marketing people, a lot of podcasters in there. And Kristen and I connected because Kristen focuses on using video. Video is so popular, video for businesses to, explain complex products and services, to get ranked better on SEO and to get more engagement. So I thought it was super relevant for our listeners because we're always looking for strategies to grow, and video is one of those.
Yeah, no doubt. It's definitely a very useful tool. Kristen delivers videos designed for results. As you mentioned, she works with companies that, while looking to simply and effectively grow SEO results through their video SEO production formula. So we're going to talk to her a little bit more about that. Let's bring Kristen on in. Kristen, welcome to the show. What's up?
Hey guys, thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here. I love that you guys are launching a new podcast, and thanks so much for inviting me on.
Absolutely. Like I said, you're only the second guest, so super special, super exclusive. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're stoked to have you. We couldn't think of anyone better to join us today. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much, guys. I love it. And thanks for the intro. It's always weird to hear someone else intro you and talk about you. It always sounds better when someone else says it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we got to pump up the crowd a little bit for you. So let's hop right into it, Kristen. Let's learn a little bit more about you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your hustle? What do you do? Where are you from?
All right. So right now I'm living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm originally from Western Pennsylvania. Fun fact about me, I grew up in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, which is where they do Groundhog's Day, which just happened recently, right? And what I do is video marketing, short and simple. On one side of the business, we do SEO optimized video content, simply delivered so companies can actually afford to post videos on a weekly basis. And on the other side, we do simple video trainings, teaching professionals how to look more professional wherever they are virtual.
Very cool. That's awesome. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, video's quite a problem these days in the sense that we know it's like the means to communicate with, but it's really hard to produce. If you've ever tried to go produce it, even just to shoot it on the iPhone and have something semi-professional. So that's kind of where you've come in, right? You've taken the difficulty out of the equation and given businesses a done-for-you service.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also at a more reasonable price point. Like if anyone's tried to price out traditional video production, you're easily going to be spending 5 figures just for a day of filming. And most companies can't afford to do that on a regular basis. So, there's always a time and a place for those highly produced, super beautiful, super creative style videos for businesses. Like, the explainer video on your website, you might want to put that extra bit of resources into. But for everyday weekly content that's really designed for results. Like we're not posting to social media every week just for the fun of it. We're doing it to bring in leads, to grow our businesses. So we need to make sure that our videos are designed for the results that we want for our business first.
So Kristen, tell us a little bit about how you got into this career path.
So my entrepreneurial journey started about 10 years ago. And I began making videos for my first company back then. And it helped me grow my company to 15,000 customers, which was super exciting for me at the time. And ever since, it's just been a super high leverage tool I've been using. But, I always had to work within these smaller budgets, doing my own side hustles. So I had to get really good at making videos on my own from home. So it's just something I've been working on how to do for a decade. And I tell you what, I have tried so many things that didn't work. I bought so much gear that I didn't need, things that were hard to set up, things that were flimsy and broke. just buying the wrong pieces of equipment for the scenario I was doing at home. Like I did all that trial and error and wasted my time and money all these years. And now I've condensed that into the simple video trainings that I host for companies, for sales teams, for companies that host a lot of virtual events and want to maintain the visual and audio standards for their company, for their sponsors, things like that. And then it also leans into the video SEO side because I understand the content creation process from end to end. And that's where I just take that on, project manage that, and really just have the client give us like the high level input of what we need for the videos. They get checkpoints throughout the video content to make sure it's on brand and the language is tweaked just right for them. But then everything else I can just take care of.
Very cool. And you mentioned your clients. Is there a certain type of client that you typically work with? Are you in a certain field, or does it kind of vary client to client?
You know, it's so interesting. I really haven't found like a specific niche. Like there have just been a lot of different companies so on the video SEO side, it's companies who are already investing in SEO and doing SEO blog content and want to elevate the SEO results by adding video content to that in a consistent, predictable, easy, accessible way. That's where we come into play. And it has been everything from like local utility companies to like national, what do I want to call them? Like an advisory board type situation for an industry wants to create videos to help promote something that's going on in that industry. And it's just been like everything in between. So.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, let's get into value video marketing. Jeff, why don't you take it over from here and let's find out a little bit more about Kristen's company.
Sure. So, Kristen, we had a chance to catch up a week or two ago, just talk marketing and things like that. Video is good for explaining like things that have a more complex sales process or a more complex service. And I want to say it was like a heating and air conditioning company or something where they were like breaking down steps of the journey and, help customers kind of get into what would be not something you'd look at and go by, but something you want to understand, something you want to work the complexities out of. So give us a couple examples, maybe even that one of like how video helps break that down and make the sale happen.
Yeah. So as the old saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, if we take that logic, like a video might be worth 1,000,000 words when we're trying to explain something remotely, virtually around a complex topic. Being able to just have a person explaining something is not only a better way to break down complex topics, it's also a way to make your content more accessible and more interesting to people. So when I say accessible, it's because some people just learn better. They retain more information whenever they hear someone say it versus reading something on your blog. And that accessibility is really important in today's world because, you're trying to reach as many people as possible and you want people to not only read your content, but remember it and remember your brand. Mm-hmm. So creating video is going to help with that. And it turns out that 90% of consumers want to see a video from a company before they buy, whether that's a product video or it's just a video about something about the service that they're about to purchase. Before they even call you for that appointment or that initial consult, they would rather see you on video before even doing that.
Yeah, very cool. And then what video platforms are the best to host on? Because of course you got YouTube, you can even post video to Facebook. Is there a trick to that, or does it depend on who the customer is and how their stuff's set up?
It really has more to do with what their goals are. For somebody who wants to rank nationally for SEO keywords, you're going to want to host on YouTube. But for a company that is trying to do more like local SEO or reach more companies locally, you have some more options in terms of where you're going to host. But then ultimately, you always want those posted on your website. No matter where you're hosting, you'll always want things also posted on your website for accessibility. So people are coming back to your site.
Gotcha. So let's take a typical, vanilla middle of the road customer who comes to you. What kind of frequency do you recommend? Because obviously doing one every 2 months is not going to do anything, and maybe doing 3 a week's a big ask. So what's like for your average small business? And we can take like, I don't know, an HVAC company or a chiropractor, or you mentioned the national ones that kind of have training. Like what kind of frequency do you like to see, or what kind of advice do you give there to the businesses?
So for companies, like what we start our offerings at is, I think bare minimum companies will be wanting to post video twice a month You can do once a month, but I think people really forget that you're posting at that point. So there's not anything to look forward to. You want to do it at least twice a month. Ideally, you want to be doing it once a week, one video a week, even if it's just a 60-second video. Getting your brand, letting someone experience your brand through a video once a week is going to help keep you top of mind.
That's awesome. Gotcha. So video not going away anytime soon. And I don't know, I've noticed this trend as well. So as you know, we focus on websites and the digital marketing. We don't go take the pictures or make the videos or things like that. But we've noticed a lot of people are actually getting out there, and business owners will even like film themselves for a week. And then, companies like yours can go up and chop it up and get it out there and stuff like that. So it's probably a trend that's not going anywhere anytime soon, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the trend of repurposing content is absolutely here to stay. I mean, as any business owner who's tried to produce their own content consistently knows, it is hard. It takes up a lot of time. Even if you're just posting a picture to Instagram every day, or you're trying to do a live stream a few times a week, or you're trying to post a video once a week, you really have to plan like a chunk of your week out just to produce and then post that content. And that's where bringing in the right teammates, the right resources, outsourcing some of that work is going to help you free up your time to actually run your business and keep your customers happy versus just posting content to bring new leads in.
For sure. And one of the things you've done once again is make it affordable. And what's your website? We'll mention it in the show notes and later, but so people can check it out.
Valuevideo.marketing.
Valuevideo.marketing. Yeah. So you've overcome one of the major hurdles, and actually you do a done for you service too. So you have the talent there. So if the business owner or, someone from their team doesn't want to get on the video, you have talent, right? That'll speak in their brand voice and on their behalf, correct?
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that, because I actually will say to a company, like, it's probably best if you get yourself on camera, A, if you feel comfortable, and B, if you have the time for that kind of thing, because people want to experience you. That's the number one thing people want, is a true, authentic experience of a company. So if you can get yourself on video, I highly recommend it. However, for a lot of companies, it just doesn't make sense to do that. So we always source a really talented spokesperson who's on brand, who's there to like represent your company, not just in what they're wearing, but the way that they're speaking, the tones that they use, and of course with the scripting that we create for them. It really, so far our clients have been really happy with the spokespeople that we've sourced for them that are representing their brand every week.
Yeah, so you just mentioned two ways for the people, on the camera. So much better to have, the business leadership or their staff members on there. I know we've experienced this too. We'll get hung up on quality of video, like, oh, we don't have like the right lighting or this, that, and other. But the thing I keep hearing is it's about the content, and if anything, you can put yourself in a bad place by trying to look too polished and trying to make yourself be some like faux version of a Super Bowl ad. So what's your take on like the quality of the content or the production, like the video quality?
Yeah, a question I get often is, what is the biggest mistake I see people making when they're on video? And my answer to that is, the biggest mistake people are making on video is by not doing video. Like, just by doing video, you're going to be doing a huge benefit. You're going to be doing a huge service for your company and your marketing. Even if your lighting isn't great, even if you have like a freaking stain on your shirt or whatever, like, as long as you're out there and you're putting something authentic out there, as long as you're like expressing or communicating in a way that is very authentic and is just truthful, like you really believe in the services or products that you're selling and you love talking about them, having the best lighting and audio really comes secondary to having that message out there. Because as it turns out, if there's a video with great audio and bad lighting, people are going to listen to that video for way longer than a video with great lighting and bad audio. As long as people can hear your message and you are emoting effectively, people are going to watch that video and they're going to remember you more than just some random image on Instagram.
Good
For
stuff.
sure. That brings to mind something I've seen a lot too. I would say this. So we do website design, right? So custom websites, beautiful designs. But when stock photography is put in there or like no video, like the sites, like it's amazing what a difference like original photography will make. And then even having video on there, because once again, you could have like the longest blog post, but you don't have a good picture by it, or you don't have a video saying the same thing. So I don't know. I've seen like video and photography take like what's an okay looking site and just make it absolutely incredible.
Yeah, adding that personal element, that custom element to it. It's I don't even have the right words for what it does, but it really just comes across as more authentic because it is.
Just kind of separates you from the pack a little bit to give it more of a personal touch, and kind of stand out a little bit. That's a really good point. And Kristen, I did want to say, you didn't have to call me out on the stain on my shirt. It was a very quick lunch. I was hurrying for this.
Do you have a stain on your shirt?
Oh, you're gonna zoom in now? No, get out of here. So let's get in. Let's move from value video to your personal journey. Let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey. As you kind of touched on a little bit ago, you kind of touched on why you started your company. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the most rewarding part of your journey so far has been?
The most rewarding, man, that's a tough question to answer, but I would have to say the most rewarding part of what I do, there's so many. Like I love connecting with smaller businesses. When I say smaller businesses, I mean smaller than like Fortune 500 companies, which is my first career. Because you're like a real person to them. Like you're not just like a widget contractor they can replace in a heartbeat. Like who you are and who they are matters. Like, working together with people like that is incredibly rewarding. But I'd have to say personally, the most rewarding thing is having more flexibility over my schedule. Like I have no one to report to. And if I want to work at 5 a.m. or if I want to work on the weekends instead of working at like 1 p.m. on a Friday, like I don't have to answer to anybody for that. Sure. And that freedom for me personally is massive.
Yeah, I bet.
I was gonna ask, like, what was your original impetus? And value video marketing is not the first entrepreneurial venture you did, but what is that? Why you left corporate? Like the restricted nature of it, or was it like the stress, or people telling you what to do? Like, why did you actually even start anything on your own?
Yeah, so I was pretty lucky. I landed in consulting out of college without ever planning to do that. It was just like a fluke of whatever that it happened, and it was great for me. I was good at it. It turned out to be very lucrative for me, but there was always this drive for more freedom, to do my own thing, to there's this idea of being your own boss, but when you're your own boss, like your clients are really your boss. So that idea I kind of learned early on about, but just being able to call the shots and not have to work within a hierarchy was definitely hugely motivating for me to leave what I was doing. I will say also that in my first career, I was a consultant, a software consultant for a large Fortune 50 company. And I had gotten myself, by my early 30s, I'd gotten to the point where there wasn't really anywhere for me to go. Like I needed a major shift in my career, no matter what I did. I either needed to try to go internal, or I needed to branch out to additional clients, or I needed to like add a new area of focus, or like there were, a million things I could have done. But ultimately what I wanted to do was work for myself.
For sure. That's cool. That desire for autonomy with freedom, though, I've learned being an entrepreneur myself, you do have to take responsibility, right? Because the work doesn't get done for you. And interesting aside, as I got to know you better, you have like is it an astrophysics major, or like you have a very unique major? Tell us about that real quick.
Sure. So college, I graduated with an honors degree in physics and minors in mathematics and astronomy, which equates to an astrophysics degree. That was what I had been passionate about as a child. I always adored the astronauts and always read books about space. And it's just where my heart was when I was, getting ready to go to college and everything. And I still love it. It's still a wonderful hobby and passion of mine. But in college, I did a lot of undergraduate research in astrophysics and nanomagnetics and really cool stuff. But I was always doing research in windowless rooms. Like I was spending most of my life in rooms without like physical windows around me. And something in me said, this is no way to live. I want windows in my life. So I went into business instead.
You mentioned space books. Do you have any recommendations? So just a backstory, and this is obviously way more your field. I'm sure you have a lot of good recommendations. I read the book Contact like 10 times in the day. I loved that book, and it like kind of opened my mind to like learning a little bit more about it. Obviously nowhere near on the level that you did, but if I wanted to get into another, book about space, another space book, do you have any recommendations?
Let's see. I do have to think about that a little bit. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson's content, whether you read his books or watch his videos, he breaks things down, and the way he presents information, he makes it so interesting and so engaging. I would definitely recommend like something by him. And then there's the classic Stephen King books, like a brief history of time, which goes into some astronomy, cosmology. Like he really ties it all together. Those are
very cool. Ones. That's awesome. That's awesome. And we talked a little bit about the most rewarding part of your entrepreneurial journey already, the schedule flexibility and some things that you like. So let's go on the other side of the coin a little bit. Why don't you tell us about the biggest challenge you've faced as an entrepreneur?
The personal development side of entrepreneurship. Some people just have all of those soft skills and emotional skills that they need to be successful entrepreneurs from a young age. I'm not one of those people. I have had to work on myself tremendously to be able to be the business owner that I want and need to be for my customers. And that involves everything from being comfortable and confident to be on a sales call with people, to being able to understand the psychology of marketing and sales funnels and all that stuff, to even just overcoming like the imposter syndrome and, the inner demons that sometimes come out and torment you when things aren't going so well. So like all of that stuff has definitely been a massive challenge.
Sure. Well,
I'm sorry, Brett. I must find that the hard skills and like numbers and things like that, they're very concrete, right? And the soft skills. So that's cool that you've evolved that over time.
100%. Absolutely. Let's move into the rapid fire round. This one's fun. No preparation, off the hip. Are you ready for this, Kristen?
Let's go.
All right, let's do it. How do you tell us about some hobbies of yours outside of work? How do you stay energized? How do you occupy your mind when you're not working?
So I absolutely love riding my one wheel around Philadelphia. It is exhilarating and it is dangerous and it is just freaking fun. You're flying on concrete.
That sounds fun. That's awesome. That sounds like a blast. What is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self today?
That's a tough one. One piece of advice I'd give to my younger self is take every piece of advice with a ginormous grain of salt. I don't care how respected or established or educated that person is. If it doesn't make sense and it doesn't seem to be working for you, move on.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty good advice. Okay. We talked about books. Let's talk about movies, TV. Are you binge watching anything right now? What you got? You got any recommendations for us? We need new stuff. It's raining outside. We're going to be bored this weekend. We don't have any Valentines over here. Just kidding. So what am I going to binge watch this weekend? Do you have anything for me?
All right. So I have a couple of things for you. I have the last great show I binge watched, which is, what was it? Was it The Queen on Netflix? I think that's what they call it. The Crown. I'm sorry. It's The Crown on Netflix about the Queen of England. Very, very amazing storytelling, very immersive. And I was absolutely just hooked on that show. And the second thing I have for you is actually a website recommendation. An amazing woman I know has put together birdieworld.com, BIRDIE world.com, where it's all about getting TV recommendations from your friends. It's all about seeing what they've watched, what they're watching now, seeing their recommendations, and spending less time picking out the next thing you want to watch.
Wow, that's a really cool idea. Although I'm pretty scared to find out what my friends are watching. I will have to check it out. That seems like a really cool idea. Okay, let's wrap it up with this. What is one thing that you're deeply grateful for right now? First thing that comes to mind. Let's hear it.
I am deeply grateful for my husband. I actually just got married at a courthouse 2 days ago.
Congratulations. What? That's awesome.
Yeah. He's a wonderful partner, an amazing man. And at 36, I'm so happy to have finally found the one.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations to you both. That's awesome. Well, Kristen, it has been so much fun having you today. For everyone watching this right now, how do they connect with you? How do they find out more about you? Where do they go?
If you want to find more about my company, go to valuevideo.marketing, the website. If you want to connect, let's message, let's talk. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You can just copy my name from the show notes. I won't spell it out for you. You can copy paste it into LinkedIn. I'm the only one on there. I'm the only Kristin Jekielek out there.
One of a kind.
That's right. That's right. Well, very cool. Very cool. You guys can find the links and stuff in our description. Please hit up Kristin, stay in touch with her. Kristin, you are so awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We had so much fun with you.
Thanks, Brett. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you again next week with another guest. Everyone enjoy your weekend and thanks for joining us.